Evening all. Just going to plug my mic in. Okay. Just going to give the lens a bit of a wipe. Excuse me. That's better. Shrek, and long time no see. Guy Walsh, welcome aboard. Thank you for joining. Drinking a nice coffee in one of the mugs that Art sent me. Hi Tim, how you doing? Hope you've had a good day. I'm alright, thank you. Had a decent night's sleep for a change last night. And a little nap, cat nap this afternoon on the couch with the kids jumping around hijinks, but managed to just shut my eyes for a little bit. Currently smoking the Pipe Club of London pipe from 2017, and I tell a lie, 2018, and I'm smoking some McBaron's The Solent mixture. A very enjoyable blend. And this Three Nuns, it's one of the tins I got from Danny Shaw. When I say vintage, it's not that vintage, it's from 2013. It's still got 5 years age on it. And the last time I tasted Three Nuns was a tin that I got from Glyn Quelch, previously of GQ Tobaccos, and he was shedding some of his tins about 2 years ago. And I tried it, and being that I was really not smoking much other than aromatics, and perhaps not sure if I'd started on Latakia blends yet by then or not, so I sold it on. So I'm quite keen to try this again. Let's see what it says on the back of it. It just says that it's made by McBaron and imported by Sutliff to the United States. I think it's a vapor. Can't remember now. Well, on tobaccopipes.com it says that originally it was a vapor, but not anymore, and this is now substituted with Kentucky. So essentially it's a Virginia Burley. Not so sure anymore if I should be opening this. Good evening, Aces. How are you doing? haven't smoked this Meerschaum very often. I did in the beginning when I first started smoking it. Actually, I never actually noticed there's a bit of texture around the pipes there. It's very cool. Hey Sean, how you doing? So it hasn't taken on as much colour as some of the other people who have got these pipes, but I'll get there eventually. But I do enjoy smoking it when I'm smoking quite a rich blend, and this solent mixture is quite rich. The description on the back of this tin of the solent mixture says that it's Virginia tobaccos mixed with a full-bodied burley, the original McBaron Cavendish, and then finally Latakia. I have to say I thought there was some Orientals in this, but there isn't. And I do get a bit of a toasted nuttiness, which presumably comes from the burleys. Pipes, etc. Thanks for joining. I saw your public announcement a few minutes ago. In case you guys haven't seen it, Pipes, etc. put up a public announcement video asking people on the YTPC to cover up the warning labels, like these. His video was about, why should people on the YTPC doing their videos do the nanny state police work for them, like by showing off the warning labels. And I fully understand the sentiment, but in a kind of a reverse kind of theory. In some ways, I'd recommend that you don't do it, and I'll tell you why. The way the world is going, the nanny states are becoming more and more intrusive in the lifestyle choices that people make. And it really is becoming a nanny state. Certainly here in the UK, and in some countries in Europe, it's absolutely ridiculous. Now, the United States, I don't think you're going to be that far behind. If you start fighting and making protests like that, I think you'll incur the wrath of the nanny state. If I was you, I'd let them have their warning labels. And let them feel like they're having their little bit of political correctness or their little bit of control that they think they have by having those stickers. If you deny them that, they may well come up with more draconian restrictions. That's my tuppence, for what it's worth. Well, tuppence. Tim, yeah, that's a fair point. If we show them that we don't care and leave the labels, that's fine. To be honest, I think that I would hope that somebody somewhere in the nanny state means well, and let's be honest, no form of smoking is safe. So if it does prevent somebody who doesn't smoke at all from starting, I don't think that's such a terrible thing. That might sound hypocritical as a smoker, but they don't bother me. They bother me from an artistic point of view, But from a nanny-state point of view, it doesn't bother me really. And I think that the first point that Pipes Etc. made on his video about the beautiful tin art that we used to have, absolutely, on that point, hi Elwood, on that point I agree. I think it's such a shame, you know, there used to be beautiful tin art out there, and that first original nightcap one that you put on the video, gorgeous, lovely, arty, colourful, pop art kind of colours, beautiful. The shame of it is that, as well, you know, okay, it's all down to economy. The shame of it is that the companies don't print on the tins anymore. Obviously, that's too costly, and I understand that. And in this business, I would imagine that the profit margins are much lower than they used to be, because there's much less people smoking, certainly in the UK. So they have to cut corners where they can. Thankfully, for the most part, they don't cut corners on the tobacco itself. So if the tin art has to be compromised a little bit, I suppose that's something which we have to, a compromise we have to live with. We have the same, to some extent, in the cigar business. Some of the cigar, yeah, absolutely, Pipes Etc. You know, everybody's entitled to their viewpoint. Hey Jeff, how you doing? With cigars, it's also hey, Chad, how you doing? I think we're on the same page, to be honest. I totally get, hi Tree, I totally get, and in principle agree with the sentiment of what Pipes Etc. Is saying. I'm just not sure it's the right approach for the USA. I would just worry that it might backfire. That's my point. It's not that I don't think he's right. I do think he's right. I think it's a terrible intrusion. It's just how you deal with it, and creating a protest on something which could likely incur greater wrath. I'm just not sure it's a good idea. Well, I might be completely wrong. Okay, I think we got the intros, everybody. I'll just do one long dude. There you go. I think we've done that now. So on the cigar side of things, I got a box of hexagon Ramonayones hexagons from France. Somebody sent me a box of 10 original editions Ramonayones. Nice cigar. When I got the boxes, I didn't know what they were. The whole, actually, let me see if I've got one nearby. Ouch. Ouch, flipping heck. Alright, sorry about that. I've just been injuring myself trying to get to this box. Right. It was a bit of a comedy of just kept on bashing into stuff. Alright, so this is the box. And this is how much you can see of the box. This bit here. The rest of it is label, 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 label. I can't even see the date of the box. So I've had to, well, I know it's 2016, so they've been kind enough to let you know what cigar it is by typing it on there. But yeah, it's all gone a bit nuts. It's a lovely looking cigar, by the way. Smells nice. Very, very nice cigar. Ramon Allones actually has got a very rich history when it comes to... sorry, my apologies, I'm getting confused with H. Upmann. H. Upmann was the first person to make dress boxes like that back in the end of the 19th century, turn of the century, around the 1900s. And H. Upmann was a banker. Actually, in the US, you've got a cigar, a non-Cuban, called the Banker. Hey, Mike. And I assume that cigar is a dedication to Mr. Upmann. Anyway, he started all that art on the boxes, the box art, and it's become such a huge industry now. Some of the American ones have got stunning art. Some of it is very collectible. Some of the older stuff. Hey, big fish. Yeah, I mean, sometimes I just cut a hole around the date just to check the date. These boxes are not really worth anything, so I don't really bother. I just think it's a shame. And if you imagine some of the varnished boxes, like Cohibas or who else does a varnished box? Well, it depends. Some of the 10 boxes or the regional editions or the limited editions, they're all usually in varnished boxes. Imagine those with stickers all over them. Ridiculous. When it comes to the tins, Samuel Goeth started packing all of their tins in boxes, so all the labels went on the boxes, and when you get home you just take the tin out of the box and you're done. There's nothing on it at all. And I have seen one or two boxes like that, cigar boxes like that, coming in cardboard boxes, so maybe that's the way forward, but I'm sure that the nanny states will cut that loophole once they discover that it's becoming widespread. Yes, Elwood, that would be the idea, same as the cardboard boxes, but I don't know. I don't know if that will fly in the long run. I really don't. Right, this bowl of soda mixture is done. I love the way it just pops out when you just give it a little knock. There's the remainder of it. Smokes right down to the heel beautifully in this meerschaum. Great smoker. In fact, I think when I open the Three Nuns, I'm going to smoke it in there as well. Yeah, Elwood, I think you're absolutely right. I think they're going to make it as ugly as possible and as hard as possible to make it less ugly. Thank you. This is the pipe club pipe made by a carver in Turkey, I believe, as you'd expect. And you can see just about on the silver there, PCOL 2018 silver band. I must say that the committee that selects the pipe always do a great job. It's always a cut above. It's a nice pipe. Next year, I saw a prototype. Did I put it in my last video of the pipe club? Anyone remember? I think I did, but I'm not entirely sure. I think I did. I'm trying to remember what kind of pipe it is. I think it's a Briar by an Italian carver, but I don't remember. Anywho, shall we get to the Three Nuns? So this is a tin that I got from Danny Shaw, and he's written on it 1st of February 2014, and the label says March 2013, so I think we can safely say that there's about 5¼ years on this. The last time I opened a tin of Three Nuns, it was very old, but I didn't like it. That was way before I was smoking any Virginias. So I'm hoping that it will be a pleasant change. So drum roll, somebody. Listen out for the fizz. A little bit, enough. Classic Virginia, fruity Virginia aroma there. No coloration on the paper. What does it say on there? Finest English tobacco. Okay, I'm not going to argue with that. And we have some lovely coins in there, or curly cuts, or medallions, whatever you want to call them. It's a really classic aroma. Very fruity, very sort of stone fruit kind of aroma. There's a little bit of almost a smokiness in the background, which I'm going to say is the spicy Kentucky in there. Did I hear somebody say grump? Josh, you in? Hello. How you doing? Thanks for the drum roll. Sorry, I wasn't looking at the screen while I was opening this. So I definitely do get a little bit of a more of a coarser aroma coming in the background there. So let's get me a little tray. Yeah, I think it is quite normal. I think last time when I opened the tin it was the same. It's quite loose. It reminds me a little bit of Cabby's mixture in terms of the presentation. Cabby's mixture is also very small, little curly cuts with a little central core of Perique, whereas this one, as far as I know, doesn't have Perique in it, and it's Virginia Burleys, Kentuckies. but the roll, presumably that these medallions are cut from, are very loosely rolled. Moisture level is just about right to smoke. Really, true. I didn't know that they did meerschaums. I've only just started sort of looking out for their pipes, as you've seen probably, but I didn't know they do meerschaums. Yes, Elwood, I'm sure you're right. But as I say, it's a very loose roll and therefore breaks apart quite easily. And it's very possible that this one is a lot of this was sort of the end of the line, possibly. So all the bits and pieces that were left behind were just crammed in. But as you sort of open it up, even those loose parts, underneath them there's more rolls. So I'm not going to do too much to it. And you can see there the different tobaccos. So you've got that dark section on the left and the brighter section on the right. Quite clear. I don't know how many of these little rolls I'm going to need for this bowl. Oh, I hope you didn't crack it there, Mike. Oh, nice. Yeah, I saw Sue Dunhill showing some of the pipes. So I'm really not going to do much to this. I'm just going to give it a gentle squeeze and load the pipe. Pipe's still a little bit warm. I'm sure the other guys here will be able to confirm that. I'm not a big Kentucky aficionado, but I'm assuming it's Virginia from Kentucky. But Kentucky generally seems to be spicier in my experience. I don't know. I don't think Kentucky is a process, unless somebody tells me otherwise. Yes, everybody, what are you having? I'm going to light up while you all share your consumption. Somebody's been telling me about opening night. Was it you, Mike? I think it was you, actually. I haven't tried it yet. Out of the wind, yeah, nice. Virginia. London Flakes, what kind of tobacco is that? And what kind of tobacco is the Ornland or Wineland, I don't know how you pronounce that, the Shire from Vaughan? McFlosson, hello. Gurkhas make some nice, I don't know if that's a cigar you're talking about. I don't know if Gurkha make pipe tobacco, I'm not aware of it. But Gurkha makes some nice cigars. No, I haven't seen that. Oh, right. Isn't that a match for Mississippi River? Big fish. Hey, Gonzalo. That's 1792. Tim, is that a vapor? Yeah, it's a match for Mississippi River as far as I know. Vapor, cool. I say it's very similar to what I'm smoking then, presumably, Tim. Oh, right. So you got a bit of a vanilla flavour there. Well, I'm trying to tease out some flavour out of this Three Nuns, and so far it's really mild. We'll give it a chance to get going. There's some other famous blend with Tonkin bean in it. Can't remember what it is though. Which one is that? Pipes, etc. That's a big claim which made my ears prick up. Oh, London Flake, right. And that's by Peretti, did you say? I've had one and one only delivery of Peretti's stuff, which I'm not sure if that went via Mike or not, but somebody took delivery of it for me. And I haven't ordered since because I just felt it was a lot of hassle and imposition on people. And I've got a reasonable amount of McClellans, so I guess that can wait. Well, always happy to try stuff. This is Exhausted Rooster, otherwise known as the Knackered Proverbial. Work it out. It's Virginia, and let's see what it says on the description. Virginia dark-fired burley and a bit of Perique. It's a nice tobacco, but it does bite me even with a filter. So, but it's pretty much finished now. I smoked it the other day. I've got about one roll left in there. What's the latest with the FDA with cigars? Anyone up to speed on that? Yeah, you're not really going to get much in the way of the American companies here in the UK. Well, that's very good news to hear that about the FDA. I'm really pleased to hear that. LJ Peretti's are obviously a very storied firm, as they say. But I find that the base tobacco for a lot of their blends is burley, and it's not just as a condiment. It's a base. It's a bit like Red Cake was from McClelland, the Red Virginias, and I just don't seem to get on with it. I've got maybe 3 or 4 of the blends of the Peretti's, including the one that they give out once a year, Halloween. And I've got some Sleepy Hollow as well. No, Sleepy Hollow is from Strauss, isn't it? Well, somebody said somewhere that Dunhill, that they've found somebody to buy up the recipes. So we'll have to wait and see. I think it would be extremely, although anything's possible, I think it would be unlikely that it'll go completely by the wayside. I've never thought it would go away, and I hope I'm not proved wrong. Well, my main screen has crashed, and I've lost YouTube. So, I can see them on my phone. At the moment, we're good. Alright, and we're back. Yep, same here, Mike. I don't get on with burleys. I have tried. And I don't know if it's just me, but most of the burley heavy blends, the tobacco just doesn't present nicely. It looks like dried cardboard. Daylight robbery, I reckon. Chad. Your spell check is legendary. Well, their contract is finished, and they don't produce it today. They stopped producing it at the end of 2016. All the Dunhill blends that are out there now are all from stock. The production line stopped, I believe, in 2016. The end of 2016. I did try that Semois. I think I've got a little baggie somewhere, but I didn't enjoy it either. It was okay. Well, I've got to say, this 3 Nuns, I'm so far pretty underwhelmed. Well, besides for a couple of English companies that are left, I think pretty much the vast majority of all other pipe tobaccos are going to be the Scandinavian group and McBaron, aren't they? obviously besides for the American companies, but in Europe anyway. Well, you are seeing a lot of blends which have been made to match Maclellan's becoming quite popular now, like we've seen with the Sutliff 515. And I'm curious about the what did he call it? Pipes. London Flake. Good evening, Northern Bohemian. Well, I do believe that the Chinese have started with cigars. Enjoyed your last video, Northern Bohemian. Quick question. I'm just curious. How long does it take you to put together a video like that? Four hours, wow. That's a lot of dedication there. Well, this Three Nuns, I'm starting to get a little bit of a handle on it. It's quite refined actually, and I think I'm getting quite a bit of a nick hit on it, but when I first started smoking it, really wasn't. I wasn't getting much, but now it's coming through as quite a refined, enjoyable, quite a fruity Virginia with a very, very mild spiciness in the background. Really mild. Bohemian, I was looking back on your channel. I've watched a few times. I've mentioned this on one of my other videos. That video of Mike McNeil opening that 15-year-old tin of which one was it? Was it Cellar? One of them. And I thought that he made quite a prophetic remark he was talking about if you like a tobacco, squirrel some away. You know, build up your cellar, because you never know what tomorrow brings. That was only 2 years ago. You do get a nice kick on the retrohale. Not only doesn't it get cheaper, but it's not always there. That's what I thought was ironic, because he was talking about stocking up your cellar, because you never know what tomorrow brings, and tomorrow, well, a couple of years, brought the demise of his company, which I thought was just ironic. Yeah, 100% Northern Bohemian. I think that did come through very clearly after a while, and kudos to them for that. And I think I read an article that somebody posted on Facebook, an interview with Mike after they closed, and and yeah, absolutely, definitely. I mean, it was quite clear that they didn't do it for money. Certainly didn't need to do it for money towards the end anyway, and wanted to ensure that their product wasn't compromised, which it would have been if they would have licensed it out to anybody else. I think any tobacco, even if it doesn't improve, as long as it's stored correctly, it's not going to go off. Not in my experience, limited experience as it may be. I do think it's important to ensure that the jars that you use are good quality, because I've got a variety of different jars, and some of them definitely don't work. They work in the short term, but they definitely don't work in the long term. And the mason jars, really, they're unbeatable. The original ones, the Bell ones. What kind of new ventures? Pipes? Hey Michael, how you doing? Well, he's certainly got some get up and go if he's starting on developing a riverfront. Thanks, Mike. That's an eBay find. Cheap as chips, as they say in the vernacular. Takes 4 pipes. I think I paid £7 for it, or £5. I'm not sure. Or £7.50 maybe. Not more than that. Cheers, Michael. I tend to rotate them, so they're not always these ones. I've got a few others which they get rotated as I smoke them. Smoking a cigar tonight, Michael? Cheers, Elwood. Have a great one. Enjoy your dinner. And Jim is in the house. Good timing. There was a space just left for you. Adieu to you too. And you, and you, and you. Seeing as you're on there, Bohemian, that's for sure. I commented on that video, and I still didn't get clear which side of the fence you were on, or if you were on neither side, then just poking fun at everybody. That's interesting if C&D bought it, because what I found interesting is when you see videos of tours of their factories, considering how much tobacco they put out, unless they're not showing you the full outfit, they look quite small, quite compact to be churning out that kind of capacity of tobacco. I think it's tobaccopipes.com who's got some of the factory tours, or pipes and tobacco, or tobacco pipes, I forget which. Uh-oh. Somebody doesn't like C&D. Wasn't it only once that they had that problem with the mold? Haven't they dealt with that? Well, the only time I've ever had mouldy tobacco was a pouch of Amphora full aroma. No, sorry, Amphora Virginia. And I had to pick out a fair amount of it. And I kind of go back to it every so often just to see if it's grown anymore. I have to say that Michael McNeil, the videos that I've watched of him, I've watched a fair few. He's a very outspoken person. Obviously, he's got the right to be. He's got the experience and the knowledge. But I did find him to be quite outspoken. He cut to the chase, you know, no beating around the bush. Well, in your cell, if stuff is if your stuff is mouldy, it's going to be mouldy. I think stuff which is sealed, you shouldn't really have much of an issue with. And the ideal thing is not to keep it too moist and not to keep it too cold, because mould loves cold and moisture. See your pipes? I would love to meet him. I'd love to meet so many people. One of these days, God knows when, but I would love to get to the Chicago Pipe Show. It's such a melting pot of pipe smoking. You know, you got loads of blenders there, carvers. It's just, you know, the world of pipe smoking under one roof. Fascinates me. I I had that kind of in a small way, comparatively, in the Nottingham Pipe Show, which I finally made this year in June, on the third attempt. I'd been wanting to go the previous year and the year before that, and work just didn't allow it, but I managed this year. I drove up. There's a video on my channel if you're interested. And had a great time chatting with people that you met on YouTube and various other platforms, but never met in person. So it was great to meet people. But my only regret was that I arrived quite late, because I drove up, had difficulty finding the venue, and then difficulty parking. And I didn't really get a chance to talk to a lot of the people that I wanted to talk to, but I did manage to speak to some great people, friends that I'd been in touch with. But I had a little bit of a chat with Ian Walker at Northern Briars, Chris Asquith, and Sam Bramer from GQ Tobaccos. I would have loved to have met Glenn Quelch, but I don't think he was there. At least I didn't see him. Yeah, the thing about Chicago is that it involves probably a flight of 7 or 8 hours. And whilst I don't mind flying, I don't enjoy it. I mean, I went to Israel not long ago. That was a 5.5 hour flight. It was okay. The last time I went to the States was when my brother got married. And that's going back probably about 28 years ago. That's the last time I've been in the States. So it's a long time. And in those days, I smoked Marlboro Lights, cigarettes. And I stopped at the end of that trip and didn't smoke till I picked up the pipe. See, Josh, I was in America for about 10 days, I think it was. On the way back, I went to duty free, and there was a special offer on Marlboro Lights. They had a box of 4 cartons, all presented nicely in one big box. So you got the 4th carton free. So I bought it. So that's 40 cartons of cigarettes, 40 packs of cigarettes. And we were enough people, so it was all legal. Didn't have to squirrel it away in the bags or anything. And in those days, believe it or not, you could smoke in the airport, Heathrow Airport, on the way back. I was smoking a cigarette. And I was on the escalator coming back into the airport, and I almost collapsed on the escalator. I felt very faint, very ill. Which presumably was down to the flight and the jet lag and whatever. But at the time, I was probably about 20... I was probably about 20 actually, roughly 20 years old. And I put it down to the cigarette. I threw the cigarette away and I said, that's it. I just bought 800, no, how many cigarettes? Yeah, 800 cigarettes. No, 1600? No, am I going mad? 800 cigarettes. Anyway, I took this box home and I put it in my cupboard. And thanks, Tim, it is 20 to 1 in the morning. I took the box home and I put it in my cupboard at home. Sealed, you know, all completely in a cellophane, sealed up. For 2 years I didn't touch them. And then one day I saw them in the cupboard and I thought, it's a bit stupid, somebody might as well enjoy them. I don't remember who I gave them to, but I gave them away. Or I sold them, I don't remember. I think I gave them away. I dabbled a little bit after that, but once I got married, I was 22 when I got married. Smoked a little bit here and there. But probably about a year or so, or 2 years into my marriage, I just gave it up completely. And in the intermediate 20 odd years, I haven't smoked any cigarettes, except for the odd cigar here or there. Probably in 20 years or so, I probably smoked, I don't know, maybe 10 or 20 cigars in 20 years. You know, special occasion kind of stuff. And that all changed one Sunday afternoon. I was out with a family at Covent Gardens, and there's a beautiful little shop called Cigar and Snuff, which many of you have heard me talk about. And we used to go to Covent Gardens quite often, and I would always peer into that window. You know, like have your nose stuck to the window looking in, like you used to do as a kid in a sweet shop. And I used to just look in there. And this one time I went in and I said, I'm buying a pipe. The last interaction I'd had with a pipe was in my college days, when a guy who was in the same dorm was a bit eccentric, and he went out and bought a pipe. He didn't know how to smoke it. Neither did I when I first bought the pipe. He was a really eccentric kind of guy. I think I've spoken about it before. I remember one time he came back from a second-hand shop, and he came back with an organ. You know, like a church organ, but a small one. The one where you pull the levers and you have to pump it with your feet to get the air going. And he just had that delivered into his dorm, and he persevered and he learned how to play it. Anyway, so I picked up the pipe, didn't know how to smoke it. I remember scuttling off into the corner in Covent Gardens trying to light it. I bought one of their tobaccos, I don't remember which one it was, probably a cherry goopy affair. And this was before I'd had any kind of interaction with the YTPC. I'd never really seen anybody, at least recently, smoke a pipe and how to do it. Besides for some school teachers that I had who smoked a pipe, but that was going back to when I was like 10 years old. In those days, teachers smoked in the class. Smoked cigarettes, pipes, cigars, the lot. But got online and I learnt how to smoke it. And as they say, haven't looked back since then. Been through a lot of tobacco, been through a lot of pipes, a lot of cigars, and it's been very enjoyable. Moving on to my flask of Earl Grey tea. I prepared this earlier, so I shouldn't have to run off in the middle of the video. It's good stuff. If you like tea, I don't know if you can get Earl Grey in the States or not, but if you like tea, give this stuff a go. It works very well with, it pairs very well with some tobaccos. More of the Lakelandy, florally kind of tobaccos, it works exceptionally well, because Earl Grey has a bit of a floral note to it. That's a good question. Do I prefer Meerschaums or Briar? Well, if you look at my collection, you can see that I generally smoke Briars. But I have to say that whenever I smoke this, I thoroughly enjoy it. It tends to be a really clean smoke. very rarely get a little bit of a gurgle on it, but that's probably more to do with the way the pipe's been made internally than anything else. And this one's also a 9mm, so it's a double whammy, and it's very good. Things like this, which I smoked earlier, which is the Solent mixture by McBaron. You know, I used to call it McBite, because any McBaron blend I tried used to bite the hell out of me in the days before I started using filtered pipes. But now with filtered pipes I can pretty much smoke anything. The Exhausted Rooster did give me a bit of a bite on Friday, even with the filter. But it's quite rare these days for me to get tongue bite. And with the Meerschaum, even more so. And this one in particular, because it's a 9mm, but also being a Meerschaum, absorbs some of that moisture. The issue with Meerschaums is I mean, I, in particular, I smoke a lot in the car. I absolutely enjoy, I adore smoking in the car. Some people don't, but I do. And having a Meerschaum. Thanks very much for stopping by, Northern. Looking forward to your next video. See if I can decipher it. One of the comments I made on your last video was that it was either the last one or one before, that they remind me a lot of Monty Python, the style, the production style. So going back to the Meerschaum, I do enjoy smoking a Meerschaum. This one, I haven't always. I mean, I had a Meerschaum before, which I sold. It was not a 9mm. But I don't know, this particular one just smokes fantastically well. Now, I don't know enough about Meerschaums to say whether there's a difference between the quality of... I know that there's compressed Meerschaum and block Meerschaum, that much I do know. And this is most definitely block Meerschaum. So there is said to be quite a difference in quality and the smoke between the two. I know that in the US, block Meerschaum is quite difficult to come by. Isn't it illegal there? There's a great video on YouTube of harvesting of Meerschaum. But I have heard since that's all. It might all go by the wayside. I have heard some talk about the whole area. I can't remember the name, but the whole area being redeveloped, which might mean that the mines. There's only one area in Turkey where this stuff comes from, and there's been some mention of it being redeveloped. So it might all disappear. Yeah, so all I was saying is that smoking in the car, it's just a bit risky, because you're in the car, you know, you could drop it and it could end up smashing. It's obviously a delicate material. You know, when you're at home, you know, you're just static at your desk or on your chair, comfortable chair, and you just put it down, smoke it, put it down. In the car, you can't always focus on, you know, you've got to focus on what you're doing when you're driving. So it's possibly not an ideal car pipe. I think I smoked this once in the car, possibly on the way back from the pipe show, from the pipe club, but I don't take it around with me. It comes in the case, which I keep it in all the time, even at home, but I don't usually take it out. But 3 Nuns, as I say, very pleasant, quite refined. A little bit of a harsh edge coming from that Kentucky, which I suppose is what it's supposed to be doing. But it's, for me anyway, nothing to write home about. I find the Benson & Hedges Special Virginia that I've been smoking recently to be more interesting. What I'd really like to do is have that age a bit and see how that smooths out and becomes a little bit more cohesive. The Kentucky in that blend is quite, I wouldn't say powerful, but it's certainly more present, and which I do enjoy. I enjoy that little kind of extra kick on top of the Sweet Virginias. But I think with a bit of age it will be even better. It used to be known as Mellow Virginia, and it's now called Special Virginia. And I did a search online for Mellow Virginia, and I came up with a website here in the UK selling Mellow Virginia. And I thought, hang on, this has got to be a mistake, it must be an old picture. I thought I was going to buy it, and I called up the company and I thought, I better just check, but it turns out that it is Special Virginia they're selling, and they just hadn't updated their picture. Either that, or if I wanted to be cynical, I would say that I was there as a teaser. But in any event, I didn't buy it. I'm still working through that first pack, which I bought in Bournemouth in the pipe shop. I still haven't edited that video, which I really do need to do for my visit to Bournemouth. I think next time I go down there I'll probably do more of an interview with the guy, because I did speak to him quite a bit, but I didn't record most of it out of respect. You know, the first time you meet somebody, you're not going to start putting a camera in their face. But next time maybe. They're quite sort of really typical hard-working English people, quite reserved, and I don't think they were that keen on being on screen. In fact, when I lifted up the phone at once, after asking them, obviously, the wife scuttled out into the back room. She didn't want to be on screen at all, which is fair enough. Alright, gentlemen, we're at 80 minutes, so I think that's long enough. Unless anybody's got a particular topic that they want to talk about, now's your time. Okay, well, I think that as the evenings start to get longer, I will probably be getting slightly earlier as we get nearer to winter. But still, I want to have in mind the American audience and the London audience. So tonight we did it at around 11:30. Maybe we'll move to 11, which is going to be around 6 PM in the US, depending on whereabouts you are. So I hope that's not too early, but maybe it is, I don't know. But so we'll see how we go. We'll judge it as we go. Thanks very much, everybody, for joining. Thanks, Tim. Thanks, McFlosson. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Sean. Thanks, Northern Bohemian, if you're still there. Thanks, Tree. Jim, Pipes Etc. is gone. And everybody else that joined us, Chad, thank you very much. Wish you all a fantastic weekend. And I will catch you on the next one. Thanks, Gonzalo.